What's up, pod pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you're checking out Podcasting Business School. It's the show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby and build it like a business. This is a podcast audit session. I've got my friend, my pod pal, Rachel Lorraine Crawford from the Bewitching the Home podcast. Very excited. Rachel and I are pod pals. She's been to some Zoom parties with me. And yeah, I'm excited to dig in. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super stoked. I can't wait to see what comes of all of this and what ideas you might have, because I know you're always, got the wheels turning. So
Yeah, like sometimes it makes me feel like I'm a crazy person. I got so many ideas. I can't help it. It's a gift and a curse at the same time, but I'll look at it as a gift always. All right. So I think we should start this conversation off with the ideal listener for your show. Can you tell us like who you see as the person that really needs to be diving into your content?
Yeah. So the person that should be listening to Bewitching the Home is somebody that is looking at going into the interior design field. This could be somebody that's a current student, or I have a lot of members. This is a really supportive podcast for my mentorship group. So people that may be wanting to enter the design field as a second career change. I have a lot of members that have sort of dedicated their lives or the beginning parts of their careers elsewhere and are now coming back to their passions and their desires for interior design. So the podcast really gears to sharing resources and vendors and people that are in this realm, along with being really intentional. And I really focus in the realm of holistic interior design. So intention, mindfulness, connecting with Mother Earth as we design beautiful spaces that support each other.
Cool. Well said. I can tell you got that dialed in. That was sometimes people are like, well, let me see. I haven't quite got this figured out yet, but so you're dialed in. So kudos to you. That's a great step in the right direction. Now, so we're looking to impact people that are kind of beginning level interior design entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, I mean, one thing we got to look at here is like the branding, the SEO, things like that. Like, are we attracting that? Because when I hear the name Bewitching the Home, I can kind of connect the dots that it's about design, but I don't necessarily right off the bat get the gist that it's about like people that want to make money as in the interior design space. So that could potentially be a problem. And the problem that could arise is, let's say you've got great search engine optimization, you're naming your stuff and it's attracting the right people when they search interior design entrepreneurship or how to become an interior designer, and Google will pull up, or let's say they're on a podcast app. All right. And they're on Apple Podcasts and they search how, interior design shows or interior design business or something like that. And your image pops up and your show name with 20 other ones. That's on that screen. There's usually 20 recommendations. The SEO did the work to pull them to your doorstep, but the name of the show, it might not, like if there's another show that's called How to Make Money as an Interior Designer, they're going to go check that one out. Or interior design entrepreneurship, they're going to check that one out.
Got it.
They may pass over your show. So that's just something to consider. Because, the tip that I usually give is, well, even if your name's a little off, you can still make up for it a little bit with the description of your show and your host and with your episode titles. But sometimes you could still get passed over in this example. Is that making sense?
Yeah, totally. I totally get it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean, I love names that just hit people over the head with like clarity. Like, this is for me.
For sure.
A name like interior design entrepreneurship, something like that. I'm like, okay, I know exactly what that is. I know who it's for. And I know artistically, it kind of is a gut punch because it's kind of boring. It's kind of vanilla, and you're a creative person, the point blank, you're in the design space. You are creative. For people who aren't seeing the background, she's got this like beautiful, like bamboo thing happening back there or whatever, I'm not sure. Don't dock points if it's not the correct,
You're fine.
Whatever. But like, Rachel always brings the style. Like she's put together with all of her branding and all that stuff. So I can tell that you've got creativity with that. And I always encourage people, just pour your creativity into the content. That's when you just unlock all of that. But all of that doesn't get delivered to the right person if we don't have the right SEO stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll totally look at that.
It'd be a strong consideration. Okay. So obviously we want to get more people in front of your show, connect them to your membership, your offers that you have. Like paint that picture for me. The rest of this year, you crush it. The next 6 months, things start really cranking for you. What would that look like? What would that feel like for you?
So I think a lot of that would basically this podcast sort of feeding into the, like you said, the mentorship program. So really connecting with people that are not here locally. I have a really good, strong, I feel, connection here in San Diego. The design community here is super tight. I have some great connections with the schools, but it would be wonderful to be able to connect with people outside of my little bubble, because there's so much information that we can learn from each other, from these other designers. So for me, it'd be like really, and I have a couple people that are like in the UK and Chicago, but I would love to connect to so much more, especially since we can do so many things virtually. So really just reaching out outside of my bubble here.
Yeah. And it can kind of get a little bit meta for you with your business too, because if you're able to monetize your interior design brand online, that's just another thing that you can teach to your students.
Absolutely.
That makes everything you're doing even more valuable. So it's like, whether you're brick and mortar hometown or online, like I can teach you it all. And that's something unique and special as well. So I think with you, we need to get, the right people in front of your show. So the whole SEO thing, that's going to help a ton.
Okay.
Have you been working on like with any podcast player app ads or anything like that?
I did one in May. I don't even remember which platform it was. It spiked a little bit, but I really didn't have sort of the budget to really go in deeper with what I wanted to do. I've been on this major creative like blast this year with creating the podcast in March and then the mentorship group in June. And I'm right now dissolving a current partnership with a friend of mine who we had a design business together. And now I'm launching a brand new design firm here in October. So it's kind of like the ball and everything is like kind of happening. So I think by next year, I should be able to have a better plan as far as like where I can start diving in to get that visibility that I'm needing.
And I think ads, like that's just one seed that we plant. But I also think like making connections and speaking on other platforms, whether that's live casting, whether that's podcast guesting, whether that's virtual stages, real stages. And in that situation, I want you to look at two unique opportunities.
Okay.
Because we have interior design and we have entrepreneurship.
Right.
So there are two different ways that we can stand out. And this is a concept that really hit me hard this summer because I attended a health conference and I spoke about how to launch a successful health podcast. So I was a one-of-one speaker, a one-of-one expert, and I did very well business-wise because of that. I could have spoke at a podcasting conference on how to launch a podcast, which I do, but everybody does that. There's a million. So I want you to look at entrepreneurship and business speaking opportunities, collaborations. So podcasts, live stages, virtual stages, clubhouse rooms, whatever, entrepreneurship and business. But I want you to speak about how to be an entrepreneur or business person in the interior design space.
Okay.
So that way those people's ears perk up and go, oh, this is something I've been looking for. It makes you unique. It makes you a one-of-one. And then also go to interior design niched topics and conversations and talk the business talk where you go, hey, I'm an expert in helping people launch a successful interior design business, whether it's a side hustle, if it's a solopreneur thing, whatever you want to do.
Right.
And you being the business expert at interior design conferences, events, things like that. So just having a different discussion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that way you stand out and it still contributes. It's a very valid thing. So look for opportunities like that. And,
Okay.
shows on interior design when you can talk about business, I think you'll really stand out because people, as well as I do, there's so many people listening to interior design based shows and
Right.
they love all the tips, but really they're passionate about interior design and they're like, I could do this,
Yeah, for sure.
and when you pop on and you're like, how do you start your career
Yeah.
how to start your interior design side hustle or something like that? Like that's a freaking TED talk right there.
Mm,
And
I love that.
and these are topics that I need you bringing up on your show. Like you should do a whole freaking series on that and show off your expert positioning. These are solo episodes,
For
like
sure.
we need that 100%. Of course, I'm sure you've got some great guest opportunities to come on your show and things like that. But also, so when you start kind of scouring the landscape for opportunities for you to speak and you come across an entrepreneurship podcast, see if you could invite them onto your show and go, I've got an audience of interior design entrepreneurs. You are an expert in email marketing or whatever,
Right.
but you would love to also come on their show because you think they're maybe a prime audience on their end, but you invite them in, make friends, then you've got this unique conversation that you can bring to their table as well. And it's not only like you can kind of give them like a gateway drug of, I can talk about design and how important, branding and design is for
Yeah.
your business. And that's kind of the gateway drug. But then also you teach a lot about how you're helping interior designers launch their businesses and careers. So that way it satisfies their business entrepreneurship need, but also it helps you kind of niche yourself and perk up the ears of your ideal listeners and clients. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love all these ideas. I think
Yeah.
what you're giving me is just another perspective of things that like I might have like thought of, but didn't really kind of dive in. They kind of just were floating around and
Yeah. Well, as creative people, we got a lot of ideas floating around. And that's something like, I don't know how your brain works, but I've got every time I take one of these like strengths finders or the
yeah.
Colby assessment, all these personality, what drives you sorts of, mojo things, I always pop up as a weird person that has lots of creativity, but I love to organize all of my creativity. I love to put it all in boxes. And they're like, you're
Yeah.
a 5% person on this. No one
For
does
sure.
this. So this is some of my special sauce that I bring to the table.
Yeah.
So with you, I think we need to gamify this. We need to have some sort of goals as far as, and it depends how your brain operates, how your personality kind of vibes, but something like going, you have your little self pep talk. You go, okay, Rachel, I'm going to reach out to find 10 potential podcasts that I would like to be a guest on every month or something like that. Or I will spend X amount of minutes per week researching this thing and just getting in that rhythm and then put it in your calendar. So it's like, okay, on Wednesdays, I put in 30 minutes of research on shows I could potentially be on and inviting them on my show or whatever, or searching for conferences or clubhouse rooms. It's like farming time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So whatever works for you, but I would just try to get in some sort of a rhythm where it's on your calendar on a specific day, specific time block it and just start doing it. And then you kind of fine tune from there. I think that will help you. This is exactly what I do. If it doesn't go on my little, I give myself 3 important things to do every day. And then if I get those just 3 done, then I can move to my giant list of all the ideas of things. But there's 3 I got to do, and that's lock solid, right, locked in tight. So something like that where you're like, this block of time, I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit to doing it for 28 days as an experiment. And so, you got to kind of fine tune from there. But I think that will help hone in the creativity so that you can actually experience results and go, okay, this is actually working. Or, okay, I tried the clubhouse thing. That didn't work. I couldn't find the rooms. It was a waste of time. So let's look at podcasts and let's aim my energy at that. Is that making sense so far?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I'd really love to see you doing that. And I think you'll crush it. Obviously you're a content creator, you're super creative and you're really well spoken. So you're going to show up well in other people's platforms, which as podcasters, that's a giant freaking advantage. We don't show up and sound like an idiot. We've got good audio. We've got mics. We've got the background thing. Like, it's like, all right, I came to play for real here and you'll stand out versus the person that has the PR company that's like just use your computer microphone. It's okay. No, it's not. Okay. So the other thing, once we get more people coming in, the expert positioning on your show is going to be critical. Like,
Okay.
I want solo episodes. I want coaching style episodes. For you, interior design, I feel like the correct term or the better term will be consulting style episodes. I
Yeah.
feel like that just kind of vibes with that industry a little bit more.
Yep.
I think, I mean, I would challenge you, 2/3 of your content needs to be you driven. So
Okay.
you're the expert. So if you're going to release, 3 weeks of episodes, week 1, week 2, week 3, I want 2 of those episodes to be you're the expert. So like it could be a guest episode, a solo episode, a coaching style episode, and that could be your rotation. But I'm telling you, you will sell more of your own programs, products, and services when you do it this way, because you're the expert, and the other people just add a few new flavors when
Right.
you have a guest on. But every guest you have on, there is a seed of benefit for you. That's a relationship that you want to build.
For sure.
That's somebody that you specifically want to learn from. You don't take just anybody on your show. Like, you could just do solo and guest or consulting style episodes only if you need to. And that's kind of where I'm at with my show
Okay.
now. I'm like, if I don't have somebody that's just really lighting my eyeballs on fire, I'm not going to do it. I have plenty to talk about myself, and I know you do
Yeah.
too. So, I mean, I would love to see you do
Okay.
like a solo business series. Maybe it's a month or something like that, where you're like, it's going to be, interior design entrepreneurship month here on the show. Here's what we're going to be talking about. And you just flood the freaking system with interior design entrepreneurship tips, like the XYZ most common mistakes, 3 things you have to know when you're getting started, just those like Googleable lines that people are going to be just eating up, and then deliver on it. And then I would, that would be a great opportunity. Maybe do 3-4 weeks of that type of content and have some sort of free challenge or something.
Okay.
That's kind of the appetizer. I'm learning a lot about this from my one of my coaches, Jan Ditchfield. She's helped me kind of concoct these free challenges, these campaigns.
Got it.
And like, had going from content to perk up the ears of the exact right person, then a thing to drive them to that's also free, but now they're in your orbit and you can actually interact with them. So maybe it's just like a little 5-day free challenge, a 2-week free challenge. It's just like, but it's just the basics. It's not
Right.
necessarily what they're paying you for. It's kind of the why, and then they pay you for the how. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I like that a lot for you. So it's you driven content. We spice that up a little bit, drive into some sort of freebie where you can pull people off the sidelines and actually engage with them a little bit. And then off of that, give them something a little special with one of your offers. Maybe it's a little extra content, like a bonus or a extra free trial or a discount or something. You don't have to do that, but that's kind of the way I tend to operate. And I think you'll get a really nice conversion rate. And now the show, there's a direct through line to your business, and you're like, I see it now. And then the beautiful thing is the show is bringing in money, and you go, hey, I'm going to reinvest some of that in podcast player app ads.
Right.
More people listening to the show, and we go back through that system of super fans. Okay, oh man, she's doing all these great episodes where she's consulting and all this stuff. And then the next free challenge, boom, we go right into the conversion. So is that picture?
Yeah.
Getting
that's fantastic.
Clear? Okay,
Yeah. I
cool.
love it.
So I think, honestly, that's where I would be
Sweet.
focusing. Do you see any roadblocks there? Do you see anything that's like, I'm not so sure about this, big guy?
No, I love the idea of showing up more. Right now I'm releasing episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays, where Thursdays are solo, but I've been recording my consultations with the mentees. So, showcasing my style and just even their questions. I'm turning episodes out based on the same questions that keep popping in. So I think that's like huge for harvesting content.
That's a recipe for success. I use that with my health show, where I had a membership for people that are, on a weight loss journey or whatever. And I would put out the rotation I did for that show was Mondays and Fridays. So one Monday would be a solo episode. The next Monday would be a guest. So every other week, solo guest. And then every Friday was a client episode, like a 15-minute. Let's focus. Like, what's the one thing you want to focus on? We'll dial in on that for 15 minutes. I deliver some answers, put that out, and I filled up my weight loss membership nicely, and it worked really well. And I was able to charge double what normally people would charge in the weight loss space, just because of the expert positioning. People were dying to get in there.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a brilliant content curation flow that you could put out there, and that's going to fit the bill for how we want your expert positioning. So just keep cranking those out. And again, I would like get out the gold highlighter and double emphasize, only take guests that just light you up, that this serves me, this serves my audience, I'm on fire about this, nothing less.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing less. I'm on like the war path with this thing. Like don't feel like even you get locked into your Tuesday, Thursday thing. Like, but you have like the creative license to change that
for sure.
And don't feel like everyone's going to unsubscribe if you're like, well, and now I'm going to go to Tuesday, Friday or whatever. Just explain it and why the shifts are happening, and your people will be good with it because you put out good stuff and you're a quality podcaster. So I think you'll be fine. Okay. I've given you a lot. I don't want to give you too much. I don't want to overload the idea tank, but just kind of in review down my mental checklist, look through SEO stuff. That's I think that's going to be worth some careful consideration.
Okay.
Then look at exposure opportunities on other people's platform as a unique speaker. So you have to kind of flip the script a little bit of what is the platform about? How do I bring this other side of the coin to it where I'm the only one talking about this? That's going to come in really, really handy. Expert positioning with your content, and then look at, having some sort of engagement event or something to, ramp up into. And I think we will convert nicely and you'll be good to go. So,
perfect.
I want to make sure you can shout out your brand and all the things. So let's shout out website, social media, where you hang out, and how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah. So social media on Instagram, it's where I'm probably the most active, and that's at Rachel Lorraine. So RachelLarraine. And then the podcast is Bewitching the Home. And the mentorship group is called the Design Coven, and the website there is just Design Coven. So DESIGN and Coven COVEN.com.
Cool. All right, pod pals, go and check out Rachel, support her and her show. And especially if you're interested in being a interior design entrepreneur, go check her out. All right. If you also want to be just like Rachel and do a podcast audit, the list is growing. The wait list is growing, I should say. We're booking into the new year already. So hop on the list, podcastingbusiness.school. If we do get cancellations, I'll go into the list and ask people if they want to move up. So definitely get on the schedule. I'd love to have you on the show. I love doing these, and I appreciate the support for these episodes and everything that I release. So with that, I will send you all out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We will see you on the next episode.